optimism, let me end here. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. Really so happy that we are having the third annual Writeshop. In this workshop, because clearly there will be some states whose needs are more important in terms of moving from resource blocks to intensive blocks, and others who are still in the stages of creating resource blocks. One of the most important output from this, as far as the overall NRLM family is concerned, is I would like closer bonding among the states, and there should be greater cross-learning from each other. One focus has to be on communitization of NRLM at different levels, and that has to be a fundamental difference between NRLM and other programs. Strong communitization leads to sustainability. So that is one aspect. I think we have been talking about it, but this year we have some very good examples across the country where this has been attempted. The second follows from the first. If we are going to invest in communitization, then what are the implications for the support structure? And the role of generalist, that means area specialization, that means we are saying everybody in SRLM is first a institution building person at all levels, starting with the mission director. Only while doing the institution building work properly, they are able to understand how their specific thematic area can be knitted into around the institution. If you don't understand institution building, then it will be difficult for you promote the particular thematic intervention. The important thing is that after 8 or 10 years, the community institutions should become self-reliant and self-sustaining. So when we are looking at the block processes, you also have to work out when does a SHG become financially self-reliant. There are two terms, financially self-reliant and managerially self-reliant. The community cadres are part of the community institutions. So the community institutions have to manage the cadres. So if you violate that principle, then you are actually defeating the objectives of managerial self-reliance. So the institutions are the owners. Sensitive support structure, we have, I would say, been fairly successful in most states in recruiting good quality human resources at the block level, district level and state level. The challenge is the induction and also what are those protocols of their functioning. The PIP, we felt that should formally be taken up when the VOs have come into existence and about 5 to 6 months, so that by the time at least 80% of the poor are already organized. Thank you.
How to form SHGs and what are the basic things they should have. So the norm required for forming SHGs, and I would like to say that in all this training program, all these things have different types of games and activities through which the staff has actually felt what is the thing going in the village, how the poor people feel. So they had some role plays, they had to go through some games, the village scenario, and each and every input what is there in the village, the poverty, the untouchability and other natural calamities, everything they went through games so that they understand the basic thing what the villagers go through.
This Writeshop was attended by 13 states, and from each state a team comprising PFT members, block team members, then DPMs who were involved, as well as the state team members were present. Broadly, our objective is that we want to reach to 7 crore households, and our focus will remain on bottom 20%, whom we are calling the ultra poor. So therefore, whatever strategy we implement in livelihood, we will start from the poorest of the poor, and we will also try to address the entire livelihood baskets, like what Mr. Director has repeatedly said, that agriculture, NPP and livestock, so we will integrate all of these 3 core livelihoods of the poor in one household. Then another key achievement should be the development of the internal CRP stream, who will be able to scale up the exercise in our entire state. Like agriculture, livestock and NPP, there has to be a social capital in every village in the form of community resource persons who are the community-based practitioners. every household will be supported at least for 2 years. So that is the minimum engagement with each household that will happen. Every household will have at least 2 livelihoods supported, like either agriculture NTFT or agricultural or livestock or all 3.
This is one of the farmers standing the crops. Right.
So the objective was to have a common understanding of the NRLM program, a shared vision across all level of staff. Also, we revisited many of our policies, processes, and came to a common understanding of what should be our plan for the future. This included the HR processes, the whole induction plan, how the staff should be inducted, what should be the period of induction, so, and then the livelihood activities, what will be the livelihood activities in a resource block and how they will be phased out. Then also very important point of discussion was the expansion strategy, how to expand from the 7 resource block that we have now to 38 intensive block which are planning next year. So the expansion strategy as well as the phasing plan, that was also discussed. And also one of the objective was to take these learnings to the National Writeshop. The state level staff, they keep coming to the National Writeshop, but the district block and cluster level staff, they were encouraged, and we have also asked the districts to have a shorter version of Writeshop in certain periods, so that they can review the progress as well as they can plan for the future in these Writeshops. So when we have we will be preparing our action plan for 15-16. So before that we will have these Writeshops at district level, from where we will get the inputs for our AAP. So that was all. Thank you.
CV has 2 parts, staff CV and community CV. And how to do the CV, who will do, and what will be the basic minimum requirements or the minimum mandatory condition for CV, that will be dealt out. And regarding HR, another new thing is performance management system, PMS. The team has already worked on it, and the model HR manual has already been revised.
I like the 3 pillars, the foundation, the livelihood and the convergence. I think there is a need to sort of also simultaneously focus on the convergence and the livelihood dimension. I learned a lot of mathematics. 36 by 36 was a new symbol for me, but I would also like to take back the 1 lakh mantra which Vijayji presented, where the net income and the plugging of the leakages actually leads to 1 lakh. So I think along with this 36 by 36 or by 5.5 lakh over a 10-year SHG, I think 1 lakh ideally should become a kind of a mantra for a 10-year time frame, because that actually is where the mission is going to gain, and the people participating in the mission are actually going to substantially gain in terms of saving expenses, but also gaining additional income. So that was a kind of takeaway. Early success signals, but also early warning signals, because we also talk about low-hanging fruits, things that can be done easily that will boost confidence of the community. So we need to identify what are those low-hanging fruits and early success signals that we need to quickly capture, but also early warning signals, especially when the movement is happening now on a large scale, where personal contacts are becoming less, structures, systems, processes, MIS, impersonal information is going to come in a big way. So I think that should be one. I was slightly a little bit want myself to be careful in terms of loading with a lot of expectations, with NRLM being the flagship program of everybody, especially the Swachh Bharat, the toilets, the latrines, the Sansad Yojana, the MKSP, because at some level I think there will be some kind of a fatigue, even for good federations and good Mandal Samakyas, to take on everything on their head. We would like to believe that they will take everything, they are capable of doing things, their capacities are expanded. Thank you for opportunity to participate, and I think I like what Murli said, faith and hope. Large number of people have faith and hope and continue to have faith and hope in the NRLM as really the last opportunity. I should not say the last opportunity, but after IRDP, SGSY, this, that, I think this is really a unique opportunity. So I think with this faith and hope, I hope in next 3 to 5 years we are able to achieve.
Always.
these 7 days, one thing which we were discussing was it has helped us to plan more to work, because it has been said that 70% planning and 30% of work gives you 100%. I think next time we are going to have a very good workshop again, and our people who have learned here, we certainly implement it in a fantastic manner at the field level. Thank you, that's all from us.
In fact, we are in a very nascent stage of implementation of NRLM in our state, and there are certain issues like HR, maybe CB. We have not been able to implement them in the right perspective. So whatever we have learned from here, after hearing to the other states, we hope that we'll be able to implement it in due course, and we'll come up with something which is for use to us, and we'll be able to implement the project in the right perspective. We can implement and we can go about it. Thank you.
J&K being, though we also consider it has been 1.5 years that we have been implementing this project in our state, we still consider ourselves to be in a nascent stage. So we'll definitely take your learnings, your suggestions. And we have been lucky enough that we are having patronage of Vijay Bharati ji. Our teams from our state, they have been visiting the home place. They have been getting the rich experience from the home place and implementing. Whatever the good practices they have done there, we are implementing in J&K. So thanks for this writeshop. Thanks.
Being a new state, in this mission, every single slide has been a learning for us the past 6 days. And the northeastern states apart from Assam, we've just started with the resource block strategy. We've brought external CRPs from on place, from Colonel District. Our external CRPs are somebody who haven't heard anything about, the Northeast or Nagaland. When you say Nagaland, they would either imagine it is in Burma or in China. However, they have come and they have, like in Nagaland, this is the 3rd round that is happening. They have been to villages where I myself haven't been to. And there is immense response from the community, the way they are able to identify with each other because they have had a common past. And I would like to congratulate the big states for experimenting for us and letting us take the cream of the best practices and implement it in our home state. I would like to also wish you all the best in your layering and also in your deepening processes. We will continue to learn from you all, and whether it's admitted or not, it goes without saying that we look up to the big states for all kind of implementations, because we small states cannot afford to experiment. So you have a lot of blocks wherein you go ahead and experiment in some blocks. Whereas we don't have that kind of room. Taking this opportunity, I would like to thank you all for freely sharing your knowledge with us.
UNDP provides technical assistance to NRLM for effective, efficient and inclusive implementation. And this writeshop shows how NRLM efficiency is important. NRLM is actually setting down systems, protocols, COMs, procedures to see that there is an efficient rollout of the program across the country. And also following it up with regional writeshops, which is a very good thing, because often what happens, our country being equal to very many continents, we tend to, the little pockets of the corners tend to feel slightly left out. So it's a very welcome thing that NRLM is actually thinking of regional writeshops too and statewide writeshops. With regard to protocols and systems being put in place, there is a slight flip side to it, in the sense that nationally, if we set up protocols, states tend to believe that there is inflexibility. When we are talking about systems, especially with a perspective, wonderful perspective of a decade or two, when we're talking about 10 years ahead, 20 years ahead, and putting systems in place to see that that happens, it is not only important for the national mission and the state missions to set up these systems. It is also important that we take our all the organizations that service the mission along on the path of systems and procedures. NRLM handholds and ensures that the resource organizations and especially the community-based organization not only sets up systems that stand up to scrutiny with regard to transparency and accountability, but also in the long run prove to the community and to the government that community-based organizations can build the capacity of the people and bring the people forward towards alleviating their own poverty. I think NRLM is duty bound to handhold this organization to see that it happens. Thank you.
इस राइट साहब से मैं सीखा हूँ, वो आदमी कि जिसका कद बहुत बड़ा था, वो आदमी जिसका कद बहुत बड़ा था, देखा तो किसी और के कंधे पे खड़ा था। तो वो जो नीचे का आदमी है, हमें उसे अपने बराबर में लाना है। बस यही इस मोटिव के साथ हम यहाँ से जाएंगे।
As Kerala should look at how the communitization can be done in a more effective manner, and I feel the capacity building and the nuances of the capacity building, probably we need to look at other states, look at the immersion techniques, and probably at the process videos, etc., which I think we have started some bit and covered most of the other parts. Probably social inclusion and social development should be. Thank you everybody. Thanks.
That one lamp lit in the year 1995-96 under the UNDP program has now become a big flame spreading the lights all over the country, perhaps tomorrow in other countries also. Mr. Vijay Kumar Garu, he was our CEO, and I remember one incident in which the communitization was felt every day, and we talked about the communitization every day, though we did not use the word communitization. The objective of the project is to enable the poor to come out of the poverty. That word is enough. That is the starting point of the communitization concept. I thank you everybody.
On behalf of NIRD resources, actually we are hosting the program. This great opportunity given by NMMU, and we worked with the NMMU team and in the direction of our great leader Vijay Kumar sir. So I was worked with under Vijay Kumar sir since 2003. I learned so many lessons and so many huge experience. पूरा NMMU team को हम धन्यवाद दे रहा हूँ. Thank you very much sir.
I think the biggest takeaway for me, sir, from this writeshop have been two. One is that yes, I came yesterday morning, I joined the session, and the first thing that I was told by Smita, was that my team is in great demand by in every cell. So I was very happy about that. And I think the second and the greatest takeaway, sir, is that finally you have agreed to do an official visit to UP. So I am really thankful and grateful.
The most important thing for me is like I've got an overall overview, and it was an orientation for me as a beginner for this whole thing. And after thank for this writeshop, like to give me orientation in all the areas. Like if at all I would have talked with someone, I could have got in particular specific area. Like when you had a recap and other things, like it was a widespread orientation for me. And hopefully, like Puducherry will have some more success models. Since like you are given us like a discretion to go on with our models. We'll come next year, like when in our writeshop, like we'll come with some models of our own. Anyway, thanks a lot.
This is the first writeshop we are attending, which is a good experience. We have learned a lot from the YPs, Sir, Dhruv, and all my other colleagues over here. We have managed to get little of the things, but I'm expecting more from Sir and MMUT from Delhi, because we want to implement. We have not started, we want to push off. And by the first week of Jan, definitely we will be rolling out with this NRLM.
Honorable dignitaries on the dais, my dear friends, this is my third writeshop, and now we are getting to be the little bit veterans of NRLM team. Because this same institution we started in 2010 with the first batch where the state resource groups were formed and they were being trained by sir, and Murli was the person who then conducted the first session on poverty diagnostics. And every day in NRLM will create many doubts in your mind. The mind will throw so many questions that we have been speaking of an organic process of social capital building, and we are taking efforts on inducements of processes